Alright, so look, real quick video. So I want to start talking about the U.S. commands, right? So we're going to talk about the commands and the comms. And I stumbled upon this because I heard of Africom and been hearing about that. Let me raise that up just a little bit. And been hearing about Africom. So I was talking to one of the master teachers, Mr. Bob Taylor, and he said, man, you need to study that. And also he told me about studying a different book that I've been in. We'll talk about that later. So I started getting into Africom. Not George Bush, but Obama actually kicked it off. They was talking about it in like 2006, but actually start moving. And Libya was like the starting point. So it's different spots in Africa. So basically, you have a man. This is basically how it goes. You have a general, whoever appointed over that sector is in charge of all military within that sector. So for example, if you have Marines go in, right? And then you had the Army go in, that they all generally fall under the command of that one person. Even though there's a high-ranking general of the Army, he don't have control over the Army in the certain sector. If the person within that sector say, no, we're going to send the people here, that's what's going to happen. Now, we're going to do it like this. They have Northcom. This is Northcom. Northcom also consists of Mexico. Northcom. So Northcom is basically Northern America. Then you had U.S. Southcom. Now everything is U.S. Southcom. Southcom is here. South America. Everything within South America. I also got the names written down of the generals and the lieutenant generals that are over this. But I'm going to do another video to go through these names. This is just to let you know and be aware of this. Now, you have, they call it EUCOM, or you can call it Eurocom, but it's the EUCOM. And the EUCOM consists of Greenland, and Russia is, they got Russia within the EUCOM. Then you got the PACOM. The PACOM, I believe they just look at it as the Pacific. And that will be basically the Navy. Right? So you got PACOM that's over this way and coming over this way and also inhabits with China and Australia. That's PACOM, like India, all that. India all the way, I think, up into, I'm not for sure, is it Iran? And then you have CENTCOM. That's Central Command. Central Command is right up in here, but they also, what's crazy is that they took Egypt out of Africa, and Egypt is not a part of Africom. Egypt is a part of CENTCOM. But it's probably because of the population that's within there. So you might want to start doing a little information on the comms. Now, why is that important? Well, that is important because the guns that are involved or basically fall under this command. What does that mean for Northcom? Well, right here in the United States, the police department falls under military. This is within military Northcom jurisdiction, so they fall straight under military control. Even though they was already under military control, now you can understand why the police has been militarized. So it's basically everything is just joining, it's merging, and George Bush signed it in, Obama enforced it, and man, we about to really see some kick-ass defense. And I also want you to look at what's going on. What was going on during the Bush administration? We're going to use Bush. Everybody want to point fingers, Bush, Obama, this and this and that. All of it operates as one. Bush was offense. Obama was offense. Trump is defense. So look at the bot. The bot. B-O-T, baby. So if you look at the bot, it's O-O-D. So you feel me? So defense is basically him focusing within this region here. And Mexico is really pretty much a part of that in that region. So it's a lot of defense being played right now. So you got to watch it. Now, with that defense being played, it's the reason why they jumped on the defense game. So I had started doing some digging, and I said, damn, let me look at the dollar. I just found out that they went up on the interest rates. So interest rates are going to start climbing, and I got to do some more information on what interest rates are going to do, and they are going to get control. And another thing that they're doing to get control, the morale of the American public was falling. but they are boosting the morale of the American people right now to believe in America again, because they want to make it great again. So they want the people to believe in America again and how great it is. They want people to believe that. And they want you to join the military and get ready to go and fight. But also look at what's going on around the border. So around the border right now, you have militias that are joining, coming in and coming from all over and going to certain borders. Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, they are actually hitting these borders out there with guns. They are free. They're out there for free, not getting paid. These are just average citizens out there with guns. They even had one guy go undercover, and in one of the videos, they said, man, I wish I could get me a body tonight. So later on, we are going to find mass graves out near the border, out there in the deserts. I believe that to be so. I can't tell you that it's actually happened, but I know that they are shooting so-called illegal immigrants. They are out there shooting them. How can you make a claim like that? Well, if you was out in the desert with your gun and somebody that don't belong and nobody's going to hear the gunshot, would you want to shoot your gun? I really do believe they're out there shooting and killing people that don't make it. So it's really a war for that. So you got a lot going on there. And I also spoke on United States and Mexico war. Sure, Mexico cannot militarily compete with the U.S. But what would happen if a war, and it ain't necessarily just talking about a gun war, we're talking about an economic war as well. Even a psychological war. Right now, because that wall was built, that's basically a psychological war that's been played, and I don't think it'll be good. Can you imagine what's going on in Iraq? I'm talking about the instability in Iraq right here in Mexico, right here on the American continent. There's nothing that's happening over in the Middle East that's happening within the American continent except in Mexico, but that have a lot to do with Plan Mexico. You have to look up Plan Mexico. What happened with Plan Mexico? First it was Plan Colombia, failed initiative. Plan Mexico was nothing but a follow-up. But you also got Operation Wide Receiver and Operation Fast and the Furious that pumped guns into Mexico. Sinaloa cartel was took under the wing of someone. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in a political spectrum, so there's a lot to study. So right now, I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to study the comms. And what are they going to do and how are they going to do this? And as a matter of fact, the United States have 2 of the bases. And I believe Northcom, I believe that's in Florida. And Southcom, I believe Southcom is in Florida. But they have 2. I believe it's the EUCOM and Africom is in Germany. They bases in Germany. So yeah, it's definitely a lot going on in the political spectrum, in the political arena. There we go, in the political arena. And I'm going to cut this video. I just wanted to put some of that information out there for those that are not paying attention and those that be like, oh yeah, but the Super Bowl, that's the Super Bowl I watch. You feel me? Stay safe, slip double, power to the people.